Hello everyone, it's Darkseeker here again. Welcome back for another video. Unfortunately today I've got a bit of a cold, so if you hear me sniffing during the video, please excuse me. But I hope you guys are all doing well, and just want to say thank you very much for all of your support so far. Wouldn't be here without you guys. Appreciate all the comments on the videos, appreciate all of the likes, and I really appreciate all of the subscribes, so thank you. Today we are going for 500 wins on Druid, and I am playing Thijs's big Druid in order to get us there. I was looking for an interesting Druid deck to play, to go from 499 to 500. Slizzle, who is a prominent wild mode streamer, suggested to me that I use Astral Communion Druid, and I thought about it for a while, but I wasn't confident in Astral Communion Druid's sort of consistency, and particularly where I was on the ladder at the time. Wasn't confident that I could win games with it, so I decided to try Thijs's big Dragon Druid, which plays Hadronox. Now, Hadronox Druid is everywhere. This is a standard mode deck, which is a bit different to what I usually play, but Hadronox Druid is everywhere. There are different versions of it. This is the Dragon version, and here's what's interesting. It plays Deathwing. Now, any deck that plays Deathwing, I'm immediately interested in. Deathwing's obviously a massive threat, which Dragon Hatcher can put out on the board. Deathwing synergizes with Hadronox. If Hadronox is on the board and you don't have a Naturalize, play Deathwing and you trigger the death rattle of Hadronox. Pretty awesome, right? The other interesting card is Ysera. I love Ysera, perhaps more than the Lich King, but they're both in this deck, which is pretty sweet. Notice this deck does not run cubes, so you only get one Hadronox down and one additional wave of threats, and that's it. So, going up against a mage here, and once again, I need to note, no cubes, one copy of Naturalize. So once you play your Hadronox, and then you trigger her death rattle, that's it, you're done. So, is this deck as effective as the other versions of Hadronox Druid that are out there? Probably not. But I'm not going to argue with Thijs, who is clearly, one of the premier pro players in the world. I'm not going to argue with him. This deck clearly has worked for him. So I guess what you're relying on is your initial big threats coming down early with ramp effects. We have the Sprite in our hand. Novice Engineer is very interesting. Suggests to me that he's trying to draw cards as quickly as possible and that he's going to combo us down in some way. I'm assuming that he's going to play Antonidas, Sorcerer's Apprentices, Molten Reflections, and I assume that we're going to get killed by fireballs. Bright-Eyed Scout, also in this deck. Again, trying to cheapen up some of our big threats, I guess. So this seems to be how this deck works. Ramp up, make big threats cheap, play them quickly, and then summon just one wave of them. Okay, that's unfortunate. But yeah, Ysera is in this deck, and people don't expect to play against Ysera these days. She's really hard to deal with because of her high health total. Hex, Polymorph obviously deal with her. But how often do you see Polymorph these days on the ladder? Hex may be a little bit more commonplace, given how much we see Shaman on the ladder. Shadowwalk Shaman is prominent, so I guess Hex is a big deal, but not Polymorph. But all this ramping up has helped us, because now the Dragon Hatcher can go live. I find this play very interesting from him. The Artificer is going to die, and has he really got that much armor from it? Not really. I think that's a waste of your Artificer. Particularly if you're going to try and kill me with your Apprentices and your Antonidases. No, your Antonidas, there's just one of him, thank God. you really want to save that Artificer to gain as much armor as possible to allow you to survive for as long as possible so that you can play your combos with Antonidas and Apprentices. Okay. Flame Strike really to kill the Dragon Hatcher, I guess. It's a shame. It's a real shame. But we have another one in our deck. There's Hadronox. Do I just play her? What do we just draw cards here? Guess we play the Sprite and we can play the Enchanter. Yeah, sure. Whatever. We missed our opportunity, sadly, to get the value with the Dragon Hatcher summoning 2 dragons a turn. We missed our opportunity, but hey, it's all good. The end is coming, apparently. With a bit of vengeance from Thalnos on the side. Okay. Can we draw into a solution to the Doomsayer? No, we can't, apparently. Okay, fair enough. Goodbye, board. It was nice knowing you. But we have a handful of cards that can do things. So, the issue is putting out enough pressure quickly enough to kill him before Antonidas arrives. I really don't know how much Master Oakheart is going to do for us here. Oh, okay. That's reasonable. That is absolutely reasonable. So, moving forward, if we get Ysera down, now I'm assuming that he plays Polymorph in this deck. So if we get Ysera down, will that bring out a Polymorph? Maybe it'll clear the way for the Lich King a bit later.
I dream and the world.
Okay, dreaming and making the world tremble. Pretty cool, right? And there's Deathwing! Ysera and Deathwing on the board at the same time. Your Flame Strikes, your Blizzards are not going to clear this. Well, there's a Blizzard.
Pain, speak to me.
Well, that's pretty good for Hadronox. And I think I need to kill him as quickly as possible here. How do we go about that? What else do we have in our deck that's useful here? That's not great. Just need to put pressure on. The 7/6 dragon puts pressure on. There's a nice barrier. Okay. Yep. That's useful. That's useful. But we have a lot of armor to work through here, unfortunately. But we have a lot of damage on board. We have a lot of damage. Simulacrum. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much confirmed what we feared. Double Simulacrum. That's really confirmed what we feared. Sorcerer's Apprentices and Tony soon to come. And no doubt he was copying those apprentices.
Shall bring you rest.
But we have a lot of damage on this board. Just shredded all of that armor instantly, and we've now put him on a one-turn clock, in essence. And this play here accomplishes two things. It puts out a lot of pressure on the board, and it mills him. What I was hoping to do was to mill Antonidas. We've seen simulacrums get played, so we know he has Sorcerer's Apprentices. But the hope was to mill something like Tony. No. Okay. And I'm hovering over the concede. Oh! That's interesting. So, he didn't have a way to kill me on that turn. I'd assumed he'd gathered all of the combo pieces. Clearly not. Maybe Tony was still in the deck. But 500 wins with Druid. Look at that. Golden Malfurion with his beard waving in the wind, leaves falling in the background. Very scenic. Very cool indeed. Okay, so Thijs' big dragon druid. Ysera, Deathwing. What more do you want? Honestly, this is awesome. Practically though, Hadronox with one copy of Naturalize, with just one wave of additional threats, probably not enough if your opponent has a way of clearing that board of additional threats. I imagine you would struggle in sort of a mirror match against other Hadronox druids that have multiple waves of big threats due to cubes being able to put out multiple copies of Hadronox. So this deck is assuming that your one Hadronox and your one additional wave is going to be enough to win the game. I'm not so sure. But let's not underestimate the power of Ysera. Let's not underestimate the power of Deathwing in this deck. They can both get things done. Ysera that lives for a few turns and gives you multiple copies of Ysera Awakens can just be game winning. People don't expect to see her, they expect the Lich King, but if you can then throw her down later in the game, they may not have an answer for her. And Deathwing is just Deathwing, super cool, board clear, and Hadronox activator if you have no Naturalize. So, thank you very much for joining me, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys all again very soon for more Hearthstone fun.